Welcome to Just Rodeoin, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Dale Brisby, greatest bull rider ever to walk the earth. You know me. You've seen me go 90 in Maine, Spain, Spokane, Fort Wayne, and Alabama. How do you go 90, Dale? Well, that's because I spur them in the fat neck. What do I do it with? Spurs. Well, how do you keep from coming off? I put heel straps on them. So today, this episode of Just Rodeoin, I'm going to show you how to put on a wire heel strap and a leather one. Personal preference. In the bronc riding, you might want leather because you're going to take your spurs off more to get on the spur board and the pony. And in the bull riding, you might want wire because you're not going to take your spurs off your riding boots. Your preference. I'm going to show you how on this episode. We're going to do this with wire. You can also do it with leather. I'll show you how at the end. But with wire, what you want to find is the inside of the spur. So whenever Donnie spurs this bronc, this is a left spur. So you can see it's barely, the shank is barely tilted in right there. So that goes on his left. He's going to reach up there and grab a hold of, son. So what we're going to do is we're going to start the wire on the inside. So left spur, what's going to be against the horse. You want to loop it just like that. Bring it on in here real nice and tight, Donnie. Fish, you're gonna need to be quiet. We're doing a tutorial. So loop it right there. Give yourself plenty of room on this wire, and then just cross it. Get it real nice and snug. And now, when you go to twisting it, Cheech was supposed to be here to help us. This what works a lot better when you got somebody to help you. Okay, I'm just going to adjust and show you from a different angle, but essentially what you want are these wires to cross at a 90-degree angle. And you just keep crossing them. This would be a lot smoother if I had Cheech here. If you've got somebody to hold the other side of the band of that spur, you can make this very smooth. Still gonna be not bad. It's gonna be not bad, all right. Now come a point when you get some length to it and you just put it on the boot to test how far it is. So now I've gotten really close to the button on the outside of my boot. Looks like I've got a few more twists I need to put in this. Ooh, that right there is close. Now, just depending on how tight you want it against that heel, the tighter you put this heel band, the harder it's going to be to get off of your boot, depending on how big the shelf of your boot is. These are bar stows, which I highly suggest if you're riding rough stock. Like, you gotta ride in bar stows, period. So hopefully that's what you're riding in. They're harder to get the heel, to get the spur off the heel if you've got it really tight, but that's just because they've got a really good shelf. So right here, and now that wire's gonna, it's gonna space out just a little, those gaps eventually, but what you can do to bulk it up is add tape in there. Now the tape is gonna serve two purposes. You can put it on there, it'll give your spur just a little bit of cushion for the wiggle, and then it'll also keep from cutting into the heel of your boot. Lastly, it will, if it gets too loose, you can use that tape and it'll be like another size. It'll be like a block for a bronc rider type deal. Now you're gonna butt it up against the button.
They shouldn't be on your boot when you tie them on.
No, this is fine right here when it's off of it. Putting them on the boot is not difficult. Sometimes it's getting them off the boot. But just because I need room, I like to put about 3 twists in it right there. And now this part, once I cut that, I will put tape on that. So I'm gonna bend this down, and I'm gonna put tape on the end of that to protect the animal. But that's why we've got this on the outside. The inside of your foot's what's going to make the most contact with the animal. If you had it like this, like right there, that's just going to cut him up. All right, that's just not something we want to do to our animals. See, these boots don't have as much of a shelf. They're a little easier to get that spur on and off. But for bronc riding, believe me, you want the Barstows. The shank is deeper, and the boot might feel heavier, but it's going to make your feet faster. Anyhow, that's how you put wire on. We're going to go ahead and add a little bit of tape. So nice of you to join us, Cheech.
Glad to be here.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
I'm doing what I told you we were coming here to do. Showing people how to put spur straps on their heel straps on their spurs.
What do you know about that?
Yeah, well, I needed your help and you weren't here.
Oh, I was busy. Your mom needed me to clean the pool.
No, that's not true, because she's got a pool boy that she's dating. And that's your start to a fancy heel strap. Very easy. Main thing inside the spur is where you start. That way there's not any sharp ends. And then when you do get a sharp end, tape that baby off. Anytime you're going to cut a hole in this leather, I like to start and end them with a hole punch. It gives the slit in that leather a round end, because if you just simply cut it with a razor, then it's liable to keep ripping. But when you've got that round end on either side, it helps it to it's not going to continue ripping whenever it gets pulled on right there. Now, this is this particular spur is I'm right-handed, and so what this is made for is to keep you from spurring over your hack rein. It's got this bar on it when you do spur, and that hack rein's on the right, so it's got this hole here instead of a button, so that your button doesn't get hung on your hack rein also. That makes it smooth right there as much as you can. And usually this inside button for bronc riding spurs, the leather will have a cover on it. So you don't have to, I mean, obviously you got to have a button right there for the, but what I'm going to do is run that in like so. I like it going the other way. That way that's pointed out away from my boot. Where's the boots they're going on? Right here. I said Donnie, I've said myself, but really these are going to be used by the Corey Pippin. Alright, so with the leather, I like to go under, just like so, and then mark you a little spot right there. Okay? You can use your razor, but essentially, and then I'm going to cut the end of the leather right there. Sound good? Now, I want to give it just a little bit of flair. That's just personal preference, doesn't matter. Then, I've got my other mark that's going to be, so I'm going to pick the end of it. Punch a hole, that's the end of it, a fancy cutting board, right in the middle. That's plenty. Now, With this one, there's not going to be any pressure on this side, so I don't need to punch another hole. I mean, you can for symmetry's sake, but it's not imperative. See, I'm not going to, the spur leather heel strap is not going to get pulled on this direction, but you could see how it would continue to rip if it was. So, bingo bango, that's how you put on your leather heel strap. Now, you get it on here, it's this leather is going to stretch more than the wire. And if you were to get it on here and find that it's too loose, oh man, I thought that was going to be perfect, but for some reason it's too loose, then you can put some twists in it. Now you can see how easy this went on and off. If you plan on taking your spurs off your boots, like if you're a bronc rider and you're going to pony, then maybe leather is the route for you. If you're a bull rider and you've got other pairs of boots and you don't mind ponying on with a different set of boots, then maybe wire is the route for you. But whichever one you want to do, whether it's wire or leather, that's how I suggest doing it. But as you can see, for instance, on Donnie's pair, his got stretched out. We had to cut it. He doesn't need any twists in it. This one here was so long we tied a knot in it and put a twist in it. That's what we're about to fix, but that's how you put a leather heel strap on. That's how you put a wire heel strap on. Thanks for watching this episode of Just Rodeoing, how to put a heel strap on.